Well, a very pleasant good evening and welcome to Bruce Hurst Field here in St. George, Utah, the site of the 2018 Red Rock Classic here in St. George, where the Spanish Fork Dons have made the trek down here to play for the next, 3 days, tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. It should be an exciting weekend of baseball for us, not just here on Spanish Fork 17, where we're down here for the next 3 days as well, covering Spanish Fork and also Maple Mountain. But it should be a fun and exciting field here at the Red Rock Classic, a combination of some 4A, 5A, and 6A teams, including tonight's opponent for the Spanish Fork Dons, the American Fork Cavemen, coming out of Class 6A, the Region 4, and a very tough region in there with Lone Peak, the team that played before the Pleasant Grove Vikings as well. Great to be with everybody here on a Thursday night for high school baseball. I'm Ryan Pickens as we settle in here for what should be a fun and exciting contest between American Fork and Spanish Fork. It wasn't too long ago both these teams were playing and winning state championships. The American Fork Cavemen a couple of years ago winning a state championship. Spanish Fork, of course, last year played for the 4A state championship a year ago. And now, of course, some reclassifications. These two schools now in two different separated by two classifications. American Fork moved up to 6A and Spanish Fork still in 4A. It should be a fun and exciting weekend here. Let's set our schedule here on Spanish Fork 17 for the next couple of days. Tonight we're here with Spanish Fork at Bruce Hurst Field at Dixie State University. Tomorrow morning we'll actually go over to Desert Hills High School, where the Maple Mountain Golden Eagles will be playing at 11:30 against the Corner Canyon Chargers. Later on in that day, Maple Mountain will play at 4:30, and they will get the Juan Diego Soaring Eagle, which should be another fun and entertaining game from Desert Hills. On Saturday, we're back here at the Red Rock Classic for a 2:30 first pitch between Spanish Fork and Taylorsville, and then followed by what should be a very fun and exciting matchup in a repeat of last year's 4A state championship game. It will be Spanish Fork taking on Timpanogos Saturday late afternoon, early evening, a 5 p.m. first pitch. We're just getting ready here for the coaches meeting. Here the teams finishing up their infield right now as Coach Nelson and head coach Jared Ingersoll for American Fork will go out and exchange the lineup cards for each squad. Let's take a moment here on Spanish Fork 17 to thank our sponsors for making this one and all of our broadcasts possible. We want to thank the Tony Basso Auto Group, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, MVP Sports, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, 2 Jack's Pizza, Mikkel Christiansen and Wise Attorneys at Law, and Dickerson Automotive. We thank everybody for making this broadcast and our many other broadcasts throughout our high school sports season possible here as we get set and ready to play this one here just a couple of minutes past 8 o'clock here in St. George, Utah. It is going to be a very fun and exciting ball game for sure right now. The two lineups being exchanged right here. Let's go ahead here. Let's get a break in here while they're doing that, and when we come back, we'll have first pitch coming up. American Fork and Spanish Fork coming up here on Spanish Fork 17.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Nobody plans on getting in an accident, but if it does happen, you can rely on the expertise of Mike McKell to protect and fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury law, Mike McKell is the attorney you need. Contact Mike at McKell, Christiansen, and Wise.
Well, we get ready to go here for this one as the coaches meeting just getting ready here to finish up here. The home and visiting team was determined by coin toss before the game. Given the looks of it, it looks like American Fork is going to be the home team in this one, and Spanish Fork will have the opportunity. They'll be the visiting team, so it appears. Right-hander Tyler Sorensen will get the start on the mound tonight for Spanish Fork. He is concluding right now some of his warm-up tosses in deep left center field. American Fork is getting ready here to take the field. Let's give you the starting lineup for the Spanish Fork Dons here as we get set for this one here momentarily. Leading off, it's going to be the third baseman, Tay Newman. Batting second will be the shortstop, Andrew Pintar. Cy Nielsen, the right fielder, hits in the 3 spot. At first base, it will be Dylan Lee, who will bat in the 4 spot. Josh Cowden, the catcher, will hit 5th. Hitting 6th at second base is going to be number 23, Dylan Hall. Carson Chappell, the left fielder, will hit 7th. Hitting 8th, it's going to be the designated hitter, Josh Dart. And rounding out the order in center field, it is going to be number 10, Riley Hess, with Tyler Sorensen pitching here on the mound here for the Spanish Fork Dons. A rather long coaches meeting right now going on between the 2 coaches and the 2 umpires here, as the lights have taken full effect here at Bruce Hurst Field. And we are just about set and getting closer and closer to first pitch here. The game previously going here to Pleasant Grove, who won it in a I guess a shortened game, a 5-inning game is what it turned out to be. You have a 2-hour and 10-minute time limit, so no new inning will begin after that 2-hour and 10-minute time frame here at the Red Rock Classic. So something to keep in mind as you go throughout this one. You would think that would be plenty of time, but sometimes it takes just a little bit longer to play these baseball games. We are set, ready to go. American Fork just about ready here to take the mound, or take the field. And taking the mound for American Fork will be number 7, Boone Abbott, who will get the ball here for the Cavemen. Abbott will head out here and have his warm-up tosses. Spanish Fork wearing red tops and white pants with the white hats. American Fork in black tops with red writing and trim, and some white pants with the white hats with the C on them here for American Fork. Moments away here from first pitch. Scheduled to play 7 innings here. Great to be with everybody on a Thursday night for high school baseball right now. A couple of things you're going to see here. The pitchers are not going to be given a lot of time to come off the mound, so you should see the pitchers working relatively quickly here, especially in a tournament setting like this. You can't really get too far behind schedule as we go here throughout the day, or especially when you get into tomorrow, when you're having 4 or 5 games in one facility. You can't get too far behind throughout, really throughout the day. Warm-up toss is just about complete. Tay Newman, the third baseman, will get ready to head into the batter's box here for Spanish Fork. And we are just about set and ready to go as the throw will come down to second. And we'll settle in here for the next couple of hours. A late Thursday night game. But one nice thing about playing baseball late Thursday night, it's almost Friday for everybody who has to go to work tomorrow. Listening here, we want to also welcome those watching on our YouTube page, youtube.com/SpanishFork17. If you know someone who can't get to the game, well, they can tune in via YouTube. We're set and ready to go right now. Tay Newman is in the box, ready to lead it off, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike at the knees, and we're underway at 8:09 here from Bruce Hurst Field at Dixie State University, as Boone Abbott ready to go here from the stretch. And he will kick and deliver this one home. That one will miss low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes, the count. Ready to go here, working from the stretch. Abbott looks in, comes home, and that one's fouled back to the back over the screen here. The protective netting, the stands sitting kind of up and above the stadium here all the way around. You'll see that sometimes in some ballparks where it will kind of sink down at times. Everybody up over the top of the dugout here at Bruce Hurst Field. With a 1-2 pitch on its way to Newman. Swung out and missed. Strike three, and Tay Newman down on strikes. And there's one gone here in the top of the first inning. The first strikeout for Boone Abbott. And now that's going to bring up number 4, Andrew Pintar. Pintar getting the start at shortstop. First pitch on its way. Pintar takes a called strike, and it's 0-1 here on Pintar. Pintar stands out of the box, gets really crowding the plate, especially with that back foot in the very kind of far back corner there of the batter's box. That one swung out and missed, and it's quickly 0-2 here on Andrew Pintar. Abbott ready to go again, working here from the stretch, something you don't see a lot of starters use majority. You'll see relievers use it a little bit more full time. Pintar pops this one up over towards third. It will be the third baseman, that is number 17, Travis Johnson there, putting it away, and there's 2 outs here in the first inning. And that is going to bring up the right fielder, Cy Nielsen. Nielsen just committing to play baseball close by at Brigham Young University, just up the road from Spanish Fork. He'll be a future Cougar, and the first pitch in there at the knees for a called strike. It's no balls and 1 strike to count here on Cy Nielsen. Working here from the stretch, ready to go. The 0-1 pitch comes in. Nielsen swings through that one, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Here on Nielsen. Ready to go as Abbott delivers the 0-2 pitch right off the plate for a called ball, and the count moves to 1-2 here on Cy Nielsen. Abbott ready to go. The 1-2 pitch on its way. Nielsen grounds this one to short. Ryan Hardman up with it. He'll throw to first in time, and the top of the first comes to an end. Spanish Fork goes down 1-2-3 in the top of the first. The American Fork Cavemen coming up after the break. You're watching high school baseball on Spanish Fork 17. And this is my first broadcast of the year for high school baseball on Spanish Fork 17, so we're not going to have a break here in between innings as American Fork gets ready to come up. Welcome to a new season of high school baseball on Spanish Fork 17 as we get set to see for the first time Tyler Sorensen this year take the hill for Spanish Fork. As I would imagine, there's a good chance tomorrow we may see Cy Nielsen take the mound, but Tyler Sorensen will be the one who will get the ball tonight for the Dons. And Sorensen was a guy who had the opportunity and moments last year in more of kind of the number 2 or 3 spot for Spanish Fork. Now tries to maybe move up into the 1 or 2 spot this season, especially early on here for Spanish Fork. Let's take a moment to thank our sponsors here on Spanish Fork 17 for making our broadcast possible. We want to thank the Tony Basso Auto Group, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, MVP Sports, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, 2 Jacks Pizza, McKell, Chris Jansen, and Wise Attorneys at Law, and Dickerson Automotive for making each and every broadcast possible throughout the season here on Spanish Fork 17. We also want to remind you you can follow our pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to keep up with the latest shows, live broadcasts, and our SF17 staff. Just look for Spanish Fork 17. So American Fork will come up here in the bottom of the first inning against Tyler Sorensen as number 12, Marty McCoy, will stand in to lead it off here for American Fork. No score here in the bottom of the first inning from Bruce Hurst Field at Dixie State University. Tyler Sorensen, the right-hander, ready to go, and the pitch on its way is going to be hit down the right field line, giving it a look at first base, and it's going to go foul before Dylan Lee there can make a play on it. And it'll be a strike there for McCoy. Standing back in, ready to go here, Marty McCoy. No balls and one strike. The count here on McCoy. The kick and the delivery comes in, and that one going to hit the outside corner for a called strike. And it's 0-2 here on McCoy. Sorensen's pretty much staying put on that mound. He'll now step off here for a moment as he tries to get set, ready to go here with the 1-2 pitch. Sorensen looks in, takes the sign, kicks and delivers. Here's the 0-2. That one's high, and now the count will move here to 1 ball and 2 strikes here on the leadoff man for American Fork. The Cavemen come in with a record of 2-1. Their one loss came last Saturday to Spanish Fork. As the 1-2 pitch comes in, McCoy slowly rolls this one to Tay Newman at third. He's up with it. He'll throw across the diamond. It's going to be a bang-bang play, but he gets him at first base. McCoy didn't hit the ball overly hard, and Newman met the baseball well, but McCoy, because of how hard he runs there, almost beat it out. Instead, it will be the first out of the inning, and that will bring up Ryan Hardman. Hardman will stand in here from the right side. Hardman, if I remember correctly, is one of the few players that is still on that American Fork team from a couple of years ago that won a 5A state championship. Ready to go, the pitch on its way, and that one's going to be pulled foul down the third baseline there by Hardman. Getting the start tonight at shortstop for American Fork. American Fork plays in a very tough region that will once again, I'm sure, be in a lot of the conversations for a 6A state championship. As the pitch comes in, Hardman swings and misses, and now finds himself down to the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Ready to go, taking a long look in. Here is the right-hander, Tyler Sorensen. Has the pitch that he wants. Here's the 0-2 on its way to Hardman. There's a fastball that misses high and away. Not a bad 0-2 pitch there, just to kind of maybe bait him off the plate there to try to swing. And there, Hardman able to hold up, and it will move to 1-2. One ball and 2 strikes, 1 gone here in the bottom of the first inning. And the pitch on its way. Here's the 1-2. That one's going to be rolled over to short. Diving and trying to come up with it was Andrew Pintar. He won't be able to. And American Fork will have their first base hit and base runner of the ball game here in the bottom of the first inning on the base hit. And that will bring up Colton Carpenter here for American Fork. So Colton Carpenter will stand in, ready to go from the right side. 1 gone here in the bottom of the first inning. Running over at first is Ryan Hardman. He has a very generous lead over at first. And the pitch comes in, that one low and in the dirt. Josh Cowden does a nice job there of keeping it in front of him for ball 1. And it's 1 ball and no strikes here on Colton Carpenter. Jared Ingersoll, the head coach for American Fork, coaching in the third base coach's box. here for the Cavemen. Sorensen from the stretch looks in. The 1-0 pitch is going to be rolled to short. This could be 2. Pintar goes to Hall for 1. The relay turn to first is going to be in time, and they got him for the 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. We have played 1 complete here from Dixie State University. No score between American Fork and Spanish Fork here on Spanish Fork 17.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Well, a nice defensive way for Spanish Fork to end the bottom of the first inning, turning the 6-4-3 double play. And now we'll see what the Dons can do here in the second here with the bats, as it will be Dylan Lee coming up for Spanish Fork to lead it off, followed by Josh Cowden and then Dylan Hall here for the Spanish Fork Dons, who will look to try to see if they can't get some kind of offense going here to maybe get some early run support here for Spanish Fork right now, as ready to stand in. Here is Lee. First pitch on its way, and Lee swings and comes up empty there, and it's quickly no balls and a strike. Here on Dylan Lee, the 0-1 pitch on its way, that one in the dirt for a ball, and the count evens up here at 1-1 on Dylan Lee. Working here from the stretch is Boone Abbott, the right-hander, ready to come home with the 1-1 pitch, and Lee lines this one down the left field line. That's going to sit. It's going to roll out to Nelson and left. Lee takes the turnaround first and will hold there with a long base hit. And the first base hit of the ball game for Spanish Fork. The Dons have a base runner here in the second inning, and now that will bring up the catcher, Josh Cowden. Cowden comes back looking for his senior campaign to try to see maybe he can continue to build on what he did, what ended up being a great junior year behind the plate for Josh Cowden. As he stands in, sees the first pitch there and swings through it. No balls and a strike is off in the distance. I-15 just past the center field wall. You can see the traffic moving here on a Thursday night here in St. George. Dylan Lee running over at first base gets his lead. Colton Carpenter going to hold him on. And the pitch on its way to Cowden is blocked in the dirt, skips away a little bit from the catcher, but that one, the nice job there of making sure it was kept in a place where Lee couldn't really think about trying to take second base. So instead, Lee will have to hold over at first. Evens the count up, 1-1 strike. Nobody out here in the top of the second inning, no score. And the pitch on its way, Cowden will pull this one foul past the first base coach for Spanish Fork, and a couple of the American Fork players will start to run for it, and then one will end up going to get it. And the umpires are going to stop because it looks like the player who ran down to get it, we saw this a little bit in the first game, he didn't have a batting helmet on, and I think they're going to stop him again and make sure that they know that anytime they're in the field of play, they need to have a protective helmet on. Here's the 1-2 pitch, about ready, time called by Josh Cowden. He'll stand out of the batter's box. 2 umpires used at the high school level, so 1 right now behind home plate calling balls and strikes, and then 1 working the base paths. Here's the 1-2 pitch on its way. Cowden swings and misses, strike 3. The second strikeout of the evening for Boone Abbott. And there's 1 away here in the second inning, and that's going to bring up the second baseman, Dylan Hall. The Dons losing a big member of that middle infield last year in shortstop Tanner Argyle. Now plays up at Salt Lake Community College. So Andrew Pintar moves over from second base to short as the first pitch to Hall misses low for ball 1. And it's 1 ball and no strikes on Dylan Hall. In the meanwhile, what that does is that then opens up that spot at second base where Dylan Hall will fit in here for Spanish Fork. Carson Chappell on deck for Spanish Fork. Here's the 1-0 pitch, low and in the dirt. The snap throw down to first is going to get past the first baseman into right field. And Dylan Lee will go down to second base there on what I would imagine is going to be the game's first error, a throwing error from behind the plate. And we will see here nonetheless, they will move the runner up to second base. And it looks like they will go there with the throwing error on the catcher. Here's the 2-0 pitch, about ready to come home, on its way. That one stays high above the belt, ball 3. And it's 3 balls and no strikes, the count here on Dylan Hall. A good-sized crowd kind of filing in here. It was raining for a good portion of the afternoon. Had a lot of rain and snow on our drive down from Spanish Fork today. The 3-0 pitch on its way, and Dylan Hall lines this one into right center field. Going over is McCoy. He's going to dive, but he's not going to come up with it. This one rolls all the way to the wall. Dylan Lee will score. Dylan Hall will hold at second, and Spanish Fork has taken a 1-0 lead here in this one. And now that's going to bring up the left fielder, Carson Chappell, who will come to the plate here for Spanish Fork with a 1-0 lead here for the Dons on what I imagine is going to be ending up being a double there as McCoy makes a nice kind of diving catch, or attempt anyway, and just couldn't quite come up with it. Here's Carson Chappell. He swings and misses at the first pitch. That one's in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Chappell last year primarily used as the speed-up runner for Spanish Fork. Now will stand in and have a shot at to play more often than not in left field. Here's the 0-1 pitch, about ready to come home. That one just off the plate, but going to catch enough of the corner for a called strike, and it's 0-2 here on Chappell. One out here in the top of the second inning for Spanish Fork. The Dons, the visiting team here in this one this evening. Here's the 0-2 pitch on its way home. That one swung on and missed, strike 3. And Boone Abbott has his 3rd strikeout of the evening for American Fork. And with 2 down, that's going to bring up the designated hitter, Josh Dart. So Dart will stand in here from the left side for Spanish Fork. Ready to hit here in the 8th spot for the Dons. And the first pitch to Dart. He's going to line this one right back up the middle. That's going to fall for a base hit. Hall will get the green light around third. He will score, and it's 2-0 Spanish Fork. The throw back to first, however, is going to get Dart as he took a too big of a turn, and the relay throw was cut off, and a nice turn on the throw is going to get Dart. The run, however, will score for Spanish Fork. And Dart they'll say, is called out in a tough way. They'll technically, I think, call him out trying to get to second base. But nonetheless, it's going to be 2 runs here in the inning for Spanish Fork. We'll move to the bottom of the second inning. 2-0 lead here for Spanish Fork here. Let's take a moment here on Spanish Fork 17 to thank our sponsors for making each and every broadcast possible. We have Dickerson Automotive, Michael Chris Jansen and Wise, attorneys at law, Two Jacks Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, MVP Sports, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, and the Tony Basso Auto Group. We thank everybody for making each broadcast each and every week possible as we look forward to another fun and exciting high school baseball season here on Spanish Fork 17. Last year, our baseball season ended with a state championship game in which the Timpanogos Timberwolves beat the Spanish Fork Dons. And really what turned out to be a great pitching performance, I believe in that one, by Derek Quinto, who is back, and who knows, we may see a Quinto on the mound tomorrow or on Saturday night for Timpanogos. Who knows? Quinto, one of the biggest arms coming back in that matchup. That game that Timpanogos won by a final of 9-7. Dawson Perry will stand in to lead it off here for American Fork in the second inning. And the first pitch on its way to Dawson Perry misses low and inside for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way home from Sorensen. Fastball again misses above the belt for ball 2, and it's 2-0 here on Travis Johnson. The new region alignments will make the baseball season here in Region 10 especially interesting. The 2-0 pitch in there at the knees for a called strike, and it's a 2-1 count here on Dawson Perry. Because of the fact that you're going to have Salem Hills and Spanish Fork, Uinta's playing good baseball to open up the year. As the 2-1 pitch comes in, that one in there at the knees for a called strike, and it evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Dawson Perry. So it'll just be interesting to see Lehigh also in Region 10 for baseball. As the 2-2 pitch about ready to come home. Delivery comes, and that one's grounded right to first. Dylan Lee will win the foot race to the bag for the first out here of the second inning, and there's one away here in the second. So with one gone, here's the third baseman. It's Travis Johnson who will come to the plate. Ready to go right now as Johnson stands back in, ready for his first plate appearance of the evening. That one inside and misses low for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. The count. Sorensen kicks and delivers the 1-0 pitch. That one inside and called for a strike. It kind of looked like Travis Johnson kind of leaned forward with that back foot there, trying to see if maybe his knee might catch the baseball. It might have just been a reaction, though, to the pitch coming inside. Here's the 1-1 on its way home. Johnson swings through it, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on Travis Johnson. Sorensen not wasting much time, pretty much just getting the sign and going again. Takes a long look in here, this time to Josh Cowden. He's ready to go with the 1-2 pitch. On its way, lined right to short, and Andrew Pintar has it for the second out of the inning. So here is number 33, J.D. Gardner, to come up. Here for American Fork. Gardner ready to go here with 2 away, looking to try to see if he can extend this inning for American Fork. The first pitch on its way right on the outside corner for a called strike, and it's 0-1 the count here. On J.D. Gardner. Infield back for Spanish Fork, outfield pretty much straight up here. Riley Hess shaded a few steps into left center. The pitch inside and tight. And this one again going to be called a strike on the corner, and it's no balls and 2 strikes here on J.D. Gardner. It appears tonight that our umpire right now is going to be giving those corners here to the pitcher. Something to keep in mind, especially with 2 strikes. You have to be prepared a little bit here to maybe let a pitch go that's on the outside corner, or maybe swing at something on the corner that you generally wouldn't swing at. Here's the 0-2 pitch, about ready to come home to Gardner, and the delivery on its way. Fastball stays high and outside, and the count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes here on J.D. Gardner. Gardner will step out and adjust the batting gloves and take a look down to head coach Jared Ingersoll in the third base coach's box. Right here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Ready to go here. Sorensen taking a long look. And the 1-2 on its way. And Gardner's going to foul that one away, and we'll do it again. First pitch was at 8:09 here, so about 10 minutes past 8. In a game that was pushed back a half hour, mainly due to some of the weather that came through St. George earlier this afternoon. A lot of that rain and that came through. Sorensen ready to go here, and the 1-2 pitch on its way home inside and low and missed for a ball, and the count evens up at 2-2. The weather the next couple of days down here, though, is supposed to be pretty good for baseball unless something changes. Sometimes that's the magic word with the weather. If it's going to change. Hopefully not, though. The 2-2 pitch on its way home, and Gardner foul tips that one. And Cowden there couldn't hang on, so even the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cowden will run a new baseball there out to Tyler Sorensen. Two balls and 2 strikes here with 2 gone in the bottom of the 2nd inning. A 2-0 lead here for Spanish Fork. Don's getting 2 across in the top half of the inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch on its way home, and that one's going to be popped up and sent foul, and we'll do another 2-2 pitch over again here. Sorensen, he's been staying put on that mound. It's been the hitters that have wanted to kind of try to break up his rhythm and step out of the batter's box. The pitch on its way inside and tight and kind of twisting out of the way was Gardner. That one will miss ball 3, and the count goes to 3-2 here on J.D. Gardner. Nelson, the left fielder, on deck here for American Fork. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Sorensen kicks and delivers. That one swung out and missed. Strike 3. Tyler Sorensen gets his first strikeout of the evening there to end the 2nd. We've played 2 from Dixie State University and Bruce Hurst Field. It's Spanish Fork 2, American Fork 0. You're watching high school baseball here on Spanish Fork 17.
They're supposed to be one of the most gentle creatures in nature.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these. That's why more people save money by combining their home and auto with State Farm.
Call State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Well, we move to the top of the 3rd inning here at Bruce Hurst Field in St. George. Spanish Fork leading American Fork by a score of 2-0, as it will be Riley Hess, Tay Newman, and Andrew Pentar, 9-1-2, coming up here for the Spanish Fork Dons, as they'll look to try to see if they can add to their 2-0 lead here in their opening game of the 2018 Red Rock Classic for Spanish Fork. They'll be back in action tomorrow night at 7:30 here, and they'll take on another team from the 6A Region 4, the Pleasant Grove Vikings, who are winners over the Taylorsville, I believe they're the Warriors, if I remember correctly, earlier this afternoon, or right before this one, so earlier this evening, I should say. And the Spanish Fork will come back and play 2 more on Saturday, so 4 games in 3 days for Spanish Fork. This isn't really a tournament style where there will be a championship game, but there will be games to be played. And the first pitch to Riley Hess misses off the plate for ball 1. It's 1 ball and no strikes here on Riley Hess. Hess moving into the center field spot that was vacated by the graduation of Brady Brook. Another Don who's playing up at Salt Lake Community College. That one's fouled back, and we'll have a 1 ball, 1 strike count here on Riley Hess. 9-1-2 coming up here for Spanish Fork, trying to get something going here. The 1-1 pitch misses low for a ball, and the count moves to 2 balls and a strike here on Riley Hess. So the weekend will quickly be upon us here on this. Feels like the weekend in a lot of sense with this kind of a tournament. However, as Hess swings and misses and the count moves to 2-2. The tournament's down here in St. George running Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so like a lot of it in the college baseball sense, you would say a weekend tournament or a weekend series would be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something of the equivalent generally. Hess will foul that one away, and that one will stay 2 balls and 2 strikes. As it's a cool, kind of crisp night here in St. George. Not an overly warm day. Tomorrow will be warmer. It still won't be necessarily the warmest. That one's again fouled away by Hess. But I have 44 degrees or so as of right now, so it was probably a couple of degrees warmer around first pitch, but it is pretty cool out right now in St. George. I think it was about 46 at first pitch. So tomorrow, though, plenty of sun and in the low 60s, so should be a good afternoon for baseball over at Desert Hills High School here on Spanish Fork 17 as the 2-2 pitch misses away for ball 3, and the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. You can have some brunch in baseball tomorrow. I believe an 11:30 a.m. first pitch, as Hess will call time and he'll step out of the box. Time called, and Hess will stand back in the box. Infield is back here for American Fork with nobody away here in the top of the 3rd. And the 3-2 pitch on its way, and Hess pops this one up down the line. Giving it a look is McCoy over towards the bullpen, and look out as he hit kind of the bullpen mound area. They have half of it, I believe, covered with a tarp down the right field line, and McCoy there was trying to come up with that one as he went over there. Could be, have to be careful whenever you're dealing with the bullpen mound. The bullpen for Spanish Fork, who's occupying the third base dugout, well, it's kind of off the field. It's not on the field as the first base dugout is, or where the first base bullpen is, I should say. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and here's the 3-2 pitch about ready to come home. And the kick and the delivery on its way, and that one's going to miss ball 4. It's going to get to the backstop, and quickly getting to it. Behind the plate is the American Fork catcher, and so Riley Hess is aboard here with a leadoff walk. And that goes back now to the top of the order, and here comes Tay Newman, the third baseman. Newman went down on strikes in his first plate appearance, and right now he is standing in, ready to go. Riley Hess with good speed over at first. We'll see if Spanish Fork will try to maybe put this game in motion. Ready to go. Bunt showed by Newman. He pulls it back. It skips off the catcher over towards the American Fork dugout. Riley Hess had slid into second base, and that's where he'll be here And now you have to think if the bunt was on with nobody out and a runner on first, you have to think here that with nobody out and a runner on second, the bunt is definitely going to be on as Colton Carpenter comes in. Travis Johnson's playing even with the bag at third. Newman's ready to go. Here's the 1-0. The bunt laid down the third baseline. The pitcher's going to field it. His throw's going to come to first. It's going to be in time there with the second baseman Larson covering the bag. And there's one away. Griffey Larson there was covering the second base bag. Riley Hess moves down to third base. And with one out, here's Andrew Pintar. Pintar hit a pop-up that was ran down by Travis Johnson in his first plate appearance of the ball game. Wearing number 4 stands in. Infield back here for American Fork as a big swing and a miss there by Pintar. So a ground ball up the middle, you have to think here is going to get the run home. Ground ball in the corners, may not, especially to third. First you might, but it would be kind of tight. Your safe bet is to get one lifted to the outfield or get a ground ball up the middle as the 0-1 pitch misses away, and the count evens up here at 1 ball and 1 strike here on Andrew Pintar. We're in the top of the third inning, a 2-0 lead for Spanish Fork. Don's looking to try to add to that lead and give Tyler Sorensen some run support. Here's the 1-1 pitch on its way home, and that one misses high for a ball, and it's 2 balls and a strike. The count now on Andrew Pintar. Outfield playing pretty straight away all the way across the board here for American Fork, so it won't really take much here if Pintar can lift one to the outfield. It won't take a ton to get that run home. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and Pintar rolls that one to third. Hess is running on contact. Johnson will go to first, but he didn't get Pintar. Andrew Pintar beats out the slow roller, and it's 3-0 Spanish Fork. It was going to be a tough play there for Travis Johnson because of how slowly hit the ball was. It was just a slow roller hit to third, and a nice job there by Travis Johnson to field it and make a good throw, or at least a decent throw to first base. He just didn't get him with the speed of Pintar, and that will bring up Cy Nielsen. Nielsen grounded out to Ryan Hardman, the American Fork shortstop, and there's a ball that didn't get to home plate. It skips the backstop, then takes a nasty carom and rolls back almost to the baseline for a ball. It's 1-0. Moving up to second base there on the wild pitch will be Andrew Pintar. So Spanish Fork taking advantage here of a couple of fundamental mistakes here coming from American Fork, and really just kind of using their speed right now to their advantage on the base paths. Nielsen stands in, ready to go. Pretty open stance here in the batter's box. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way, and that one misses low and in the dirt for ball 2. It's 2 balls and no strikes. And I think we're going to have a visit out to the mound here by Jared Ingersoll, and Coach Casey Nelson will also come out. He'll have a word here with a couple of the hitters here for Spanish Fork. Well, the Dons may want to enjoy the next couple of days playing on this field because of the fact that in years past, Spanish Fork has really been very beneficial, or have been really nice to have the 4A state tournament played up at what's now called the UCCU ballpark at UVU. Well, this year, the state tournament moves down here to Dixie, the 4A state tournament, down to Dixie State University. So Spanish Fork, if they're going to have an opportunity to play for a state championship, will have to try to win that one coming up in May right here on this field. And the thing that makes it tough is it's going to be a very good 4A classification with some of the schools from down here in southern Utah. including nearby the Dixie Flyers are looking to be very tough again as the 2-0 pitch bounces in the dirt for ball 3. It's 3 balls and no strikes here on Cy Nielsen. You put in Snow Canyon, who was the 3A runners-up last year to Dixie. Took Dixie to the 7th inning before hitting a walk-off home run to win the state championship. 3 balls and no strikes the count here on Nielsen, and they'll look the runner back to second. Right here as the bullpen is quiet here for both teams here in the top of the 3rd inning. 3 balls and no strikes the count here on Cy Nielsen. The pitch right on the outside corner gets over for a strike, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike the count here on Cy Nielsen. Outfield pretty much, well, big gap actually out in right center field as they're playing Nielsen to pull. Here they'll throw back to second base. The ball goes off the shortstop's Hardman's glove into center field, and Andrew Pintar will move down to third base here. On the tough kind of believe it's going to, I think the official score will end up being probably a throwing error there, as that one just gets away and off of Hardman's glove. The second American Fork error of the night. Here's the 3 ball, 1 strike count here on Cy Nielsen. Nielsen doesn't need a hit here to get the run home. The 3-1 pitch on its way. Nielsen swings and fouls this one away, and the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes here on Cy Nielsen with 1 away here in the top of the 3rd inning. 1 run already in for Spanish Fork. An RBI single by Andrew Pintar, who is now standing on at third base. Three balls and 2 strikes here with 1 gone, and Sorensen, the pitch comes home, called strike 3. Nielsen looks at the pitch from Boone Abbott for Abbott's 4th strikeout of the evening already. Their 2nd out of the inning, and now that's going to bring up first baseman Dylan Lee. Lee singled back in the 2nd inning, came around to score the game's 1st run for Spanish Fork, as he got a couple of bases on a throwing error that came from the American Fork catcher, just kind of airmailed one. That one blocked in the dirt, as Dylan Lee quickly putting the hand up there to Andrew Pintar, telling him don't go, and it's 1 ball and no strikes here on Dylan Lee. Boone Abbott here working from the stretch, and kicks and delivers this one home. Fastball right off the plate, and that one missing for a ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes. The count here on Dylan Lee. Josh Cowden, the Spanish Fork catchers, on deck, ready to hit if the inning continues. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that one's fouled straight back over the top of the roof, back here of the press box, back onto the concourse, and we'll have the 2-1 pitch coming again here momentarily. Both pitchers working at a pretty good clip as the 2-1 pitch comes home. Lee lifts this one down the line, giving it a look as Carpenter over in foul territory. He will make the catch up against on the warning track up against the wall to end the inning. Spanish Fork, however, able to find another run. They get 1 run on 1 hit and an error. They strand 1. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Spanish Fork leading the American Fork Cavemen by a score of 3-0. Let's take a moment here to thank our sponsors on Spanish Fork 17, who make each and every broadcast and other great high school sports moments possible here on Spanish Fork 17. We want to thank Tony Basso Auto Group, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, MVP Sports, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, 2 Jack's Pizza, McKell, Chris Jansen, and Wise Attorneys at Law, and Dickerson Automotive. We thank them for making each and every broadcast possible on Spanish Fork 17. I want to remind you also to follow our pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to keep up with the latest shows live broadcast NRSF 17 staff. Just look for Spanish Fork 17. This game is being streamed tonight on YouTube, on youtube.com/Spanish Fork 17. So if you have family members or friends who are not able to be at the game, or maybe live outside the viewing area for Spanish Fork 17 on TV, well, tell them to tune in on the YouTube page to have a chance to catch some good high school baseball action. As we head to the bottom of the third inning, it's the bottom part of the American Fork lineup, as the left fielder Nelson will stand in to lead it off here for American Fork. Tyler Sorensen ready to go back to work, and he delivers the pitch on its way. Fastball stays high. For ball one. 1 ball and no strikes the count here on Nelson. Sorensen ready to go as Nelson swings and fouls this one down the right field line. We'll have the 1-1 pitch here coming momentarily. The lights are on here at Bruce Hurst Field as we play some night baseball here. Tomorrow we'll have some day baseball for you, some day to maybe some early evening baseball, as the 1-1 pitch in there at the knees for a called strike, and it's 1-2. And we'll conclude with some Saturday afternoon baseball here on Spanish Fork 17, and then get ready to go back into our regular weekday broadcasts. Here's the 1-2 pitch on its way. And that one's going to be grounded to short. Coming up with it is the shortstop, Pintar. He'll throw it to first, and they'll get the runner in time. A very close bang-bang play, but they get the first out of the inning on the ground out. And with one away, brings up the center fielder, Jack Walker. Walker will take a couple of practice cuts and stands in. First pitch in there for a strike, and it's 0-1 here on Jack Walker. Griffey Larson, the second baseman, on deck to round out the order for American Fork. Here's the 0-1 pitch on its way, and that one's going to be fouled away at the plate. We'll have another strike, so we'll make it 0-2 the count here on Jack Walker. Tyler Sorensen not really leaving the mound. In the rules here of the Red Rock Classic, it didn't really want a lot of delays by the pitcher. Didn't really want the pitcher coming off the mound in between pitches. Didn't want any unnecessary slowing down of the games, especially when they get into tomorrow. So that one's fouled away, and we'll have another 0-2 pitch. As American Fork, they'll have a pretty quick turnaround after playing tonight. American Fork's back in action here at the tournament. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow. They'll play Timpanogos at noon, and then they'll come back at 2:30, and they'll play against Palo Verde. Believe they're the only out-of-state school in this field. As the 0-2 pitch on its way home is going to be swung on and missed. The tag applied by Josh Cowden for the strikeout. Second strikeout for Tyler Sorensen, and with 2 gone, that will bring up the second baseman. Here's Griffey Larson. Larson will takes a practice cut, adjusts the batting gloves, and stands in, ready to go. American Fork is not worried about the 2-hour, 10-minute time limit of this game. As the pitch, Larson pulls the bunt back and takes ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. The count here on Griffey Larson. Marty McCoy in the on-deck circle here for American Fork. The leadoff man for the Cavemen waits to see if he'll have an opportunity to hit here in the inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way home, and that one's going to be chopped right back. Sorensen tries to grab it, but can't. Pintar's going to bobble the baseball and will not have a chance there to get Griffey Larson. Larson beats it out, and they're going to rule that an error against Andrew Pintar, it looks like. They're going to say that Pintar maybe had enough time there to try to come up with it had he fielded it cleanly, and it would have been a close play with Larson running well, but Pintar probably has the arm strength being to the right of the second base bag there to make the throw. So the inning will continue. The first Spanish Fork error of the night, and Marty McCoy, the right fielder, stands in. That one hits McCoy. He just stood in the box and just waited for it to hit him. And now American Fork will bring the tying run to the plate here in the inning, and Ryan Hardman. So a conference between the infield on the mound will now break up. They're probably just trying to give Tyler Sorensen some confidence here. As good speed on the base pass for American Fork here with 2 gone. Ryan Hardman had the game's first base hit back in the first inning. He was then retired on the double play that Colton Carpenter hit into, and that ended the first inning. Here's the first pitch on its way to Hardman. He turns out of it, and that one's going to be inside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. The count here on Ryan Hardman. Griffey Larson running at second base. Marty McCoy running over at first. McCoy not being held on over at first base. He can pretty much get as big as lead as he wants. That one inside and tight for a ball. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. The count here on Ryan Hardman. Spanish Fork here just looking for that out to get out of the inning. They don't need anything overly special. Any out will work. And the 2-0 pitch on its way. Hardman hits that one through the hole for a base hit. Coming around third, they'll send Larson. The ball is bobbled by Carson Chappell, and everybody else will move up another base. And now the tying run is scoring position for American Fork. Griffey Larson probably, maybe scores, depending on the throw there from Carson Chappell. But McCoy there would not have, I think, gotten the extra base. And I would imagine that is going to be an error against Spanish Fork. I would think how that one will be officially ruled in the scorebook. And now we'll have runners on at second and third here. And now that will bring up Colton Carpenter. Carpenter stands in, ready to go here with 2 gone. And the pitch on its way, a breaking ball, misses off the plate for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. The count here on Colton Carpenter. First base is open, so if you're Tyler Sorensen, if you happen to walk the hitter, it doesn't kill you there with first base being open. Dawson Perry in the on-deck circle for American Fork. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way. That one didn't get all the way to the plate, and scoring there on the pass ball will be Marty McCoy. And sorry, will be probably a wild pitch. That one didn't even get to the dirt in front of home plate. It bounces on the grass and goes up and over Josh Cowden. And American Fork now has the tying run 90 feet away. And we're going to have a visit out here to the mound. And those are the ones that, it's one thing if American Fork is hitting the baseball and they're finding ways there just to be able to earn each and every one of those runs. But when they start coming because of errors or because of walks or hit batsmen, it kind of changes the whole course of the ball game, and it gets a little frustrating as a coach because that's stuff that you really want to make the hitters earn it. Carpenter will stand in. He's got a 2-ball, no strike count here. And the thing I think will hurt the most is a lot of this has come with 2 outs in the inning. Tyler Sorensen got the first 2 hitters out before Griffey Larson reached on the error by Andrew Pintar. Marty McCoy was hit by a pitch, and then Ryan Hardman had the base hit through the left side. Colton Carpenter stands in. 2 balls and no strikes to count. The pitch on its way, and Carpenter's going to ground this one to Pintar. He'll come up with it. He'll throw over to first in time, and the third inning comes to an end. However, damage is done. American Fork scores 2 at the end of 3. Spanish Fork 3, American Fork 2. You're watching high school baseball here on Spanish Fork 17.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Well, in between the 2 innings, head coach Jared Ingersoll out of the dugout having a conversation with both umpires. I'm not sure exactly what the discussion is. Of course, we don't have coaches mic'd up or anything, so we can't really know what the discussion was. He was pointing, though, into something in the dugout, and so I'm not sure if there was something that happened with one of his players or something that happened in between innings, but the discussion's still kind of continuing here between Jared Ingersoll and the umpires, and now the 2 umpires having a conversation as Josh Cowden comes to the plate to lead off the top of the 4th inning. Boone Abbott to go back to work for the to start his 4th inning of work here, and he's really pitched well. Both pitchers tonight have pitched well for their clubs. Boone Abbott and Tyler Sorensen, they've both done their jobs. And now something being said here to the Spanish Fork dugout. I think Coach Casey Nelson was standing up right there in front of the dugout, and I think they were telling him to get back in the dugout. The first pitch to Josh Cowden gets to the backstop for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes to count. If you're just joining us, Spanish Fork in the red tops and white pants. American Fork in the black tops and white pants here. The opening night of the Red Rock Classic. The 1-0 pitch on its way. Fastball off the plate, ball 2. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Here to Josh Cowden. Here's the 2-0 on its way. There's a fastball that's right there for a called strike. And it's a 2-1 count now on Josh Cowden. Dylan Hall in the on-deck circle will be Cowden, Hall, and Carson Chappell. 5, 6, and 7 coming up here for Spanish Fork. Here's the 2-1 pitch on its way home, and Cowden out in front of it and missed it for strike 2, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Josh Cowden. Here is Boone Abbott working from the stretch, trying to do everything that he can to get this first out, and there's Cowden who will foul that one back to the screen, and the count will stay 2 balls and 2 strikes. The protective netting here runs up almost to where the top of the press box is. If one got hit just right, in fact, one of the press box windows does have a giant crack in it where I think it's probably been hit by a baseball. The 2-2 pitch misses low, ball 3, and the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes here on Josh Cowden. So I would imagine at one time or another a ball got just up over that netting, and it's right at the base of the window too, if I remember. It's really where we were going to try to set up tonight, but we had to kind of make those adjustments as necessary. The 3-2 pitch right on the outside corner, and it freezes Cowden for strike 3. Strikeout number 5 for Boone Abbott, who I believe has at least 1 strikeout in every inning so far. And brings up Dylan Hall. He's 1 for 1 tonight with an RBI double, and came around to score a run here for Spanish Fork. And the pitch on its way misses for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. It skips away to the backstop for a ball, and it's 1-0 here on Dylan Hall. Infield back here for American Fork. Here's the 1-0 pitch. On its way, and Hall again swings and misses, and the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike here on Dylan Hall. Both these teams having pretty high expectations in 2018. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball that stays low for a ball, and it's 2 balls and a strike. The count here on Dylan Hall. The 4A state tournament back here in May at Brucehurst Field down here at Dixie State University. The 6A tournament, well, that will be played at the UCCU ballpark on the campus of Utah Valley University as Hall swings and misses there. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes, which should be the state tournament, always a fun time here. I know we've had fun the last few years here on Spanish Fork 17 with having both Spanish Fork and Maple Mountain in the same classification. The 2-2 pitch misses for a ball, and the count moves to 3-2 here on Dylan Hall. It's been fun because both of those schools have been very good at getting deep into the state tournament. Maple Mountain has done a great job, especially most of the time. The Golden Eagles have been in the bottom part of the 1-loss bracket. 3-2 pitch on its way. Hall checked his swing. Did he go? They'll appeal the first. He did go, according to the first base umpire, for strike 3, and there's 2 gone here in the 4th inning. And from my vantage point here, it looked like he went as well. And so with 2 outs, that will bring up left fielder Carson Chappell. Chappell, a strikeout victim in his first plate appearance, will stand in ready to go here from the right side of the plate. Chappell having a successful season on the gridiron as Chappell swings and fouls that one away for strike 1. It's 0-1 here on Chappell. The quarterback for the Spanish Fork football team in the fall made the first round of the state playoffs before losing a tough game to Ridgeline. I'm sure that one kind of still stings a bit. The 0-1 pitch on its way. Chappell again swings at that one that was low and outside, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Carson Chappell. Carson Chappell, one of those guys that gave it his all no matter what the score was this year, no matter what the situation, as the 0-2 pitch there gets the backstop for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to count here on Carson Chappell. And sometimes those intangible skills are very important no matter what sport you play, to always be giving it your 100% best effort. Here's the 1-2 pitch on its way to Carson Chappell. Fastball just off the plate for a ball, and the count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Carson Chappell. Josh Dart, the designated hitter, getting loose in the on-deck circle if the inning continues past Carson Chappell. And the 2-2 pitch on its way home. That one missing low and outside for ball 3, and the count goes full 3-2. Boone Abbott took a couple of steps off the mound towards the American Fork dugout. I think he was thinking that he might have got the corner there for the call. Chappell battling back in this count, originally being down 0-2. And the pitch on its way, and Chappell looks at a called 3rd strike, and that is 3 straight strikeouts here in the inning for Boone Abbott. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's a 3-2 lead for Spanish Fork. Tyler Sorensen will go back to work. Let's take a moment here on Spanish Fork 17 to thank our sponsors for making each and every broadcast possible. We want to thank MVP Sports, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Tony Basso Auto Group, 2 Jacks Pizza, Mikkel Christiansen and Wise Attorneys at Law, and Dickerson Automotive. We thank each and every sponsor for taking the time and effort that it takes to be a sponsor here on Spanish Fork 17. I want to remind you to follow our pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to keep up with the latest shows, live broadcasts, and our SF17 staff. Just look for Spanish Fork 17. Always good to keep an eye, especially with baseball and softball this time of year, because of the fact that sometimes, depending on the weather, games get postponed and delayed, and sometimes that means our broadcasts get postponed or delayed. And so keep an eye on our social media pages there for any sort of last-minute changes in the broadcast. Bottom of the fourth inning, getting ready to start here. It will be Dawson Perry, Travis Johnson, and J.D. Gardner coming up here for American Fork. Dawson Perry stands in, who's 0 for 1. He grounded out to the first baseman in his first plate appearance. And the first pitch on its way home from Tyler Sorensen is in there at the knees for a called strike. And it's 0-1 the count here on Dawson Perry. Infield back for Spanish Fork here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Scheduled to play 7 or as many as we can play in 2 hours and 10 minutes, as that one's pulled foul. Evens the count up at 1-1. We got underway at 8:09, so it's 9:15 right now. So no new inning should start past 8 after 10. Or sorry, 9 after 10. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Sorensen kicks and delivers this one. That's a fastball. It stays high, and the count evens up here. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Dawson Perry. American Fork scored 2 runs in that third inning, and really they just took advantage of some miscues and a timely base hit from Ryan Hardman. The 2-1 pitch, that's in there, called strike 3. It looks like a 1-2 count, and Tyler Sorensen there has his third strikeout of the ball game. There's one away here in the fourth, and that brings up Travis Johnson. Johnson's 0 for 1. He had just a soft liner right to the shortstop, Andrew Pintar, in his only plate appearance. First pitch on its way. Johnson swings and lifts this one into shallow center field. Riley Hess coming in, going out, and nobody's going to come up with it, as it was the second baseman, Dylan Hall, who gave it a look. And Riley Hess made a diving attempt, but nobody could come up with it, and Travis Johnson goes into second base, where he will be there with a long... Yeah, the only way you could really score that would be a double, because it just hit into no man's land and no one was able to come up with it. Riley Hess was playing a couple of steps towards left center field. Riley Hess just couldn't get there. So with one gone, J.D. Gardner will come to the plate. Gardner 0 for 1. He struck out in his only plate appearance of the ball game. Sorensen takes a long look at the runner and comes home. The pitch grounded right to Andrew Pintar, who comes up with it. He'll fire across the diamond in time, and there's 2 away. Travis Johnson will move, however, down to third base. And so the tying run for American Fork 90 feet away, as it will be Nelson, the left fielder, coming to the plate. Nelson 0 for 1, grounded to short in his only plate appearance of the ball game. Back in the third inning. Infield back right here. The pitch on its way, and Nelson lifts this one pretty well out to left field. Chappell ran back, now having to run in. He'll make the sliding attempt, and he'll make the catch, and the inning comes to an end. We've played 4 complete here from Brucehurst Field at Dixie State University. It's Spanish Fork 3, American Fork 2. It is the 2018 Red Rock Classic on Spanish Fork 17.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year, so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Nobody plans on getting in an accident, but if it does happen, you can rely on the expertise of Mike McKell to protect and fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury law, Mike McKell is the attorney you need. Contact Mike at McKell, Christiansen, and Wise.
Well, we move to the top of the 5th inning, as it will be Boone Abbott going back to work. He's working off of 3 straight strikeouts after he got Josh Cowden, Dylan Hall, and Carson Chappell all to strike out. He struck out 4 of the last 5 hitters that he's gotten out, and he'll go back to work here to face 8, 9, and 1, Josh Dart, Riley Hess, and then back to the top of the lineup, and Tay Newman. Josh Dart will stand in. He's 1 for 1, had an RBI single back in the second inning that just went right back up through the middle. And then as he rounded first base, he took a little too big of a turn as the first pitch bounces in the dirt for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes here. And it was a good relay throw that came from Jack Walker. It was cut off, and they threw back to first base, and Josh Dart just couldn't quite get back in time. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way, and Dart there couldn't hold up, and it's a called strike, and the count evens up at 1-1. Top of the 5th inning, we'll have our MVP Sports MVP of the game coming up after the conclusion of this ball game. Here's the 1-1 on its way home, and that one's right there, but just maybe missed low for a ball. And it's 2-1 here on Josh Dart. Working from the stretch, Boone Abbott takes a look in behind the plate, and the 2-1 on its way home rolled foul over towards the American Fork dugout, and we'll have another 2-2 pitch coming here as the American Fork players went to go pick up the baseball and then just let the Spanish Fork first base coach go get it. And there's a called strike 3 again on the corner. 4 consecutive strikeouts for Boone Abbott. And that's now 5 out of the last 6 outs who came from strikeouts, as Riley Hess will come to the plate. Hess walked and then came around to score a run back in his only plate appearance. And now time called as Riley Hess is having to take his batting gloves. He's just taken off, and I think he had like a gold chain or a necklace or something on, and the home plate umpire told him, you have to take that off. So now he takes that off, tosses it into the dugout, and will step back in the batter's box. I'm assuming the home plate umpire did not notice that the first time that Riley Hess was at the plate when he worked a walk and came around to score a run. Here's the pitch on its way. That one again bounces in the dirt. Didn't get all the way to the plate. Goes to the backstop for ball 1. It's 1 ball and no strikes here on Riley Hess. On a cool night for baseball in St. George. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way. That one's popped up. Could be playable. Colton Carpenter going to give it a look, and he's going to run out of room. That one hitting just down the first baseline past one of our cameramen down the line. Count will move to 1 ball and 1 strike. The protective netting does not go all the way past the dugouts, as you see in some facilities, especially at the high school level. As the 1-1 pitch about ready to come home to Riley Hess, and that one's going to be chopped over to Travis Johnson. It's going to go foul at the very last minute as Johnson throws over to first, so it'll be a strike, and Riley Hess will head back to the batter's box. It'll be 1-2 on Riley Hess. So where a couple of our crew members are, down the lines just above the dugout, they are unprotected. So hopefully a line drive doesn't come their way tonight. The first couple of years here, when we did the state tournament up at the UCCU ballpark in Orem, The 1-2 pitch about ready to come home, and Hess is going to hit this one into left center field. Coming over, it's going to fall in front of Walker in center field. Hess takes a big turnaround first, and he'll quickly get back to first base, and Riley Hess has a base hit here with one out, and now back to the top of the lineup in Tay Newman. The first couple of years that I was here in Spanish Fork 17, when we did the state baseball tournament at the UCCU ballpark in Orem, we would be stationed down the right field line just above, kind of on the concourse level, and there was no protective netting there past the dugout. And inevitably, about once a tournament, I would have to duck out of the way. Taking off as Hess, the throw down to second is not going to be in time as it was high. The shortstop Hardman had to jump into the air. Riley Hess gets the stolen base, and now he's into scoring position here with one out. And Tay Newman an opportunity here in the leadoff spot. See if he can't drive a run in. Newman didn't hit a ton in the leadoff spot last year for Spanish Fork. Hit, if I remember correctly, down the 5 or 6 spot. That one's going to be rolled to short. Hardman up with it. He'll go to third, and they will cut down the lead runner for the second out of the inning. Be a fielder's choice there for Tay Newman. And that's one of those hard things right there. If you're Riley Hess, kind of a base running mistake because of the fact that you can't really run on that ball if it's hit to the shortstop. Especially how quickly it was hit. You're kind of a sitting duck. Heads up play there for Ryan Hardman to quickly go to third. And with 2 gone, the pitch is in there to Andrew Pintar for a called strike, and it's 0-1 on Pintar. Pintar has popped out to third and then also had an RBI single back in the third inning. Tay Newman running over at first base, being held on by Colton Carpenter at first. From the stretch, ready to go, and the 0-1 pitch about ready to come on its way, misses low for a ball, and the count evens up 1 ball, 1 strike here on Andrew Pintar. Cy Nielsen, the right fielder, would hit if the inning continues past Pintar. From the stretch, ready to go, the pitch goes outside, runner takes off, the throwdown is going to beat him, and they got the runner Newman trying to steal second base. It was an on-the-money throw that one hopped into the glove of Larson at second base, and right there to apply the tag to end the inning here for Spanish Fork. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's Spanish Fork 3, American Fork 2. Let's take a moment here on Spanish Fork 17 to thank our sponsors who make each and every one of these broadcasts possible here for us. We got Dickerson Automotive, Mikkel Christiansen and Wise, attorneys at law, 2 Jacks Pizza, Triple T, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, MVP Sports, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, and Tony Basso Auto Group. We thank everybody for their hard work and efforts in making high school sports possible here on Spanish Fork 17 as our crew has made the trek down to St. George for the weekend, our yearly trip down here for some baseball. Last year it was nice because both Spanish Fork and Maple Mountain were in the same tournament at the same location. This year, not quite as nice, but still close enough. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be with Maple Mountain over at Desert Hills High School for an 11:30 a.m. first pitch when the Golden Eagles take on the Corner Canyon Chargers, which should be another fun matchup. And then we'll have a game break and then back coming up at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. Maple Mountain will take on the Juan Diego Soaring Eagle. Juan Diego might be a team to keep an eye on at that 4A level. Here they might be a team that could be down here in St. George come May for the state tournament. Jack Walker, Griffey Larson, and Marty McCoy, 8, 9, and 1 coming up here for American Fork. And the first pitch misses low here to Jack Walker. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Walker struck out back in the 3rd inning. in his only plate appearance. Ready to go here. Tyler Sorensen will deliver the 1-0 pitch. That one swung on and missed, and the count evens up here. 1 ball and 1 strike on Jack Walker. And now some kind of warning or something being told from our home plate umpire to the American Fork dugout. Here's the 1-1 pitch. About ready to come to Walker on its way home. Walker, that one gets the backstop for a ball, and it's 2-1 the count on Jack Walker. 1-run ball game here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Scheduled to play 7 or 2 hours and 10 minutes. And that will be, you can't start a new inning past 2 hours and 10 minutes. I should clarify that. 2-1 pitch, fouled straight back, and we'll have another 2-2 pitch coming. And games can, in this instance, in this classic, end in a tie. Generally, baseball doesn't end in a tie. Generally, you play until you have a winner. But in this kind of a situation, you can have a tie. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count on Walker. Ready to go. The pitch on its way home is high and tight. Twisting out of the way was Walker for ball 3. And the count goes full 3-2 on Jack Walker. Griffey Larson getting loose in the on-deck circle for American Fork, who trails Spanish Fork by a score of 3-2 here in the bottom of the 5th. The pitch on its way misses low, ball 4, and Jack Walker is aboard, and the tying run for the Cavemen on the base paths as Griffey Larson will come to the plate. Larson reached on an error by the shortstop, Andrew Pintar, and then came around to score a run here for American Fork. Defensive alignment being given here by Josh Cowden back behind the plate. Double play depth up the middle with Pintar and Hall. Tay Newman playing in on the cut of the grass as Larson squares to bunt. Now charges in. The bunt is going to be fouled away at home plate as it took kind of a couple of weird kind of hops there that you wouldn't see. One kind of just right out in front there, I think probably just to the left of the plate, and then kind of had a nasty backspin on it. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, it's a strike against Griffey Larson. We'll see if he squares around again. Time called right now. No action either bullpen, so right now both pitchers have been in pretty good control of this game. Both pitchers have given their team a chance to win the game, and Casey Nelson has come out of the dugout, I think, to give some kind of defensive alignment, and the home plate umpire is just kind of waiting until he gets back in the dugout before letting the game continue. The 0-1 pitch as Sorensen throws over to first, and diving back is Jack Walker. 7 innings in high school baseball compared to the 9 that you'll get in college and a lot of the professional levels. Larson squares around a bunt. The pitch on its way. He'll bunt this one back to Sorensen. His only play will be first. A throw goes to the right of Lee, and everybody's going to be safe. Sorensen had plenty of time, just threw the ball down the line, and now American Fork has the tying and leading runs on the base paths. And head coach Casey Nelson will come out of the dugout, and he will go have a visit with his infield. I don't see anybody throwing in the Spanish Fork bullpen. So this might just be something here to make sure that everybody's on the same page here in the 5th inning. And that is going to be, it looks like, it for Tyler Sorensen. We're going to have, it looks like, a pitching change here. And it's going to be, it looks like, number 15 coming in. That is Josh Dart, who will move over to third base, which I believe will mean Tay Newman will take over here on the mound. So just a couple of changes here that we'll note here for everybody. Dart will move over to third base. Tay Newman will move over to pitch. The hitter for American Fork will be the top of the lineup and Marty McCoy. There's no outs here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And then there's going to be runners on at first and second. It'll be Jack Walker running at second base, and over at first base is Griffey Larson. Tay Newman wearing number 14. I believe that was the same number that was worn by Briggs Newman last year. It was. So Newman just switching from 15 to 14. As Tay Newman will conclude his warm-up tosses here, as Marty McCoy will come in ready to stand in the box with nobody out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Infield up the middle will be a double play depth. The corners, however, played in, as I would imagine Jared Ingersoll here is going to have the bunt on, is what I would imagine. I can't see you bunting nobody out with a runner on first and then not bunting with nobody out, runners on at first and second. McCoy does show bunt, pulls it back, and takes ball one. So Tyler Sorensen goes 4 innings tonight. Allows 3 hits. I believe a couple of those runs are going to end up being unearned. The bunt laid down to third. Dart is going to have to hurry the throw. The throw goes off the glove of the second baseman, Dylan Hall. Scoring is Walker to tie the game. The runners will move up another 90 feet. And American Fork has the leading run sitting on at third base here in the 5th inning. McCoy, that's going to be probably, my guess is going to be a throwing error, is my guess there against Josh Dart, who threw the ball again just up the line. That is the 4th Spanish Fork error of the night, as Ryan Hardman now comes to the plate. Hardman has 2 singles tonight, so you have to kind of wonder if the thought might not cross your mind. I don't know if you necessarily put him on here, but if this was later in the ball game, you might. The first pitch misses for a ball, and it's 1-0 the count. Hardman had an RBI single in the 3rd and then a single back in the 1st for American Fork. 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the 5th. The pitch on its way right off the plate, and the count moves to 2-0 here on Hardman. Running on at second base is Marty McCoy. Griffey Larson at third. Good speed on the base paths here as the 2-0 pitch gets over for a called strike. That is probably the thing that ends up hurting you the most if you're Spanish Fork right now. Isn't just that the runner is on, but now all of a sudden you have runners on at second and third, and you have good speed on the base paths. Your outfield's playing back, so a base hit here probably brings in both runs. The 2-1 pitch misses low ball 3, and it's 3 balls and a strike now. The count here on Ryan Hardman. Looking down at that bullpen is quiet for Spanish Fork. First base is open for the Dawn, so a walk doesn't necessarily hurt you. It actually may in some cases help you as ball 4 is given to Hardman. Here's why I have to say it may help you. Because of the fact now that you have the force at any base, you open up the double play, you open up a few more options to potentially get 2 outs, and you put the force out coming at the plate here for Colton Carpenter, who has 2 ground outs on the night right here. Carpenter will stand out of the box here, now stand back in. This is also where that 2-hour, 10-minute time limit comes into play. The pitch on its way in there for a called strike to Colton Carpenter. Because a long inning like this, remember, you can't start a new inning past 2 hours and 10 minutes. So, if you have a really long inning, that cuts into that time. Here as Carpenter takes the 0-1 pitch away for a ball and it evens up at 1-1. It could limit the amount of outs that you have to work with. Spanish Fork only has 6 to work with. Josh Cowden will come out. So, I mean, the likelihood that we have a really long inning to the point where we can't get through the 6th and starting the 7th, probably unlikely. But you just never know, especially if you were to have 2 long innings. Colton Carpenter stands in, nobody out. Here, 1 run in for American Fork, and the bases full of cavemen. Griffey Larson at third, Marty McCoy at second, Ryan Hardman over at first. The 1-1 pitch on its way. Carpenter checks his swing as the pitch was outside for ball 2, and it's 2-1 the count here on Carpenter. Spanish Fork at double play depth up the middle, so the Dons look like they'll take the double play here in exchange for the run. Corners are playing in. Would think a ball hits the corners, they're coming home. The 2-1 pitch misses low, ball 3, and it's 3-1 the count here on Colton Carpenter. And now in the 3-1 count, you have to probably look at coming over the plate here to Colton Carpenter. Outfielders, kind of normal depth. As Carpenter rolls this one to Josh Dart at third. He's not going to be able to come home. His throw will be to first in time. The throw back across the diamond is not going to be in time to get the runner at third, but the run does come in to score, and American Fork has a 4-3 lead here in the 5th. So Colton Carpenter there does his job and finds a way to get the run home. It may not have been the prettiest base hit there, but you'll take, well, it's not the prettiest out, the slow roller to third, but you do your job, and now that brings up Dawson Perry. And once again, you see American Fork taking advantage of the errors by Spanish Fork. 2 errors in the inning have led to a run. There's a ground ball at third. Andrew Pintar knocks it down. Not going to have a play at home. The throw pulls the first baseman Lee, but he's going to be able to get the tag. But American Fork will get Marty McCoy in from third and extend their lead out to 5-3 here in the 5th inning. It was a nice play by Pintar just to make sure that he could keep the ball in the infield. However, again, the speed on the base pass for American Fork, a perfect throw it would have had to been there to get him. And I think Andrew Pintar kind of thought, I don't want to risk not getting an out anywhere. So he takes the for sure out over at first as Travis Johnson stands in. Johnson's 1 for 2 tonight as he swings and misses at the first pitch, and it's 0-1 count on Johnson. Johnson lined out to Andrew Pintar and then doubled in his last at-bat. Ryan Hardman, the runner out at second base. The 0-1 pitch fouled straight back to the screen as we'll have a 0-2 pitch coming. The ball just going to kind of sit there on that netting. You'll see it tomorrow. Well, you may not see it, but tomorrow at Desert Hills they have kind of the same thing where they can retrieve it with this little tool. It's pretty cool to watch them do that. If we have some way of getting some kind of shot of that, we'll try as that one goes up the middle. Coming around third base will be Hardman. The throw is cut off by Lee, and it is a 6-3 lead for American Fork here in the 5th. An RBI single there for Travis Johnson, and a nice job by American Fork as they turn the walk the error by Josh Dart and the error on the pitcher all into runs here in the inning, followed by another walk. American Fork really hasn't had to get a lot of base hits to get those runs home. They've just taken advantage of those errors and the walks. Here's J.D. Gardner, the 8th man to come to the plate here for American Fork in the 5th. Newman comes home and misses high with the fastball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes to count here on J.D. Gardner. I'm back with you tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning with some brunch baseball. Then some, I don't know, early dinner baseball potentially. 4:30, first pitch in the afternoon. Here's the pitch on its way inside and tight, and it hits J.D. Gardner. And Gardner will go to first base being hit by a pitch, and now that will bring up McKay Nelson. And Nelson is going to be the 9th man to come to the plate here in the inning. I think we're going to have a runner over at first base. We will. We'll run the speed-up runner. I don't have a first name there. It's the number I have is as I have number 10. I only have a last name of Wood running for the speed up runner over at first base. So 2 outs, McKay Nelson 0 for 2 stands in. Swinging first pitch, pops this one up foul. And that one will be the first strike here on McKay Nelson as Tay Newman just trying to find a way to get out of this inning. 4 American Fork runs in, and American Fork has their first lead at 6-3 here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as that one will be fouled away, and we'll have the 0-2 pitch coming here. When we head to the 6th, there will be Andrew Pintar, Cy Nielsen, and Dylan Lee, 2, 3, and 4 coming up for Spanish Fork as they'll try to figure out Boone Abbott, who has 8 strikeouts on the evening for American Fork. Here's the 0-2 pitch right there, just missing, maybe a little outside for a ball. And it's 1-2 the count here, at least from my vantage point here. That looked pretty good, but maybe just a little off the plate. 1-2 the count here on McKay Nelson. And the pitch, fastball again, this one high and outside for a ball. Evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes here on McKay Nelson. Jack Walker, the center fielder, on deck. He led all this inning off with a leadoff walk. That got things going here for American Fork. And there's a fastball right on the outside corner for strike 3, and the inning is over. Well, 9 men come to the plate for the Cavemen in the 5th. And it pays off. 4 runs come across. It's American Fork 6, Spanish Fork 3. The Dons have some work to do after the break here on Spanish Fork 17.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Well, we head to the top of the 6th inning here at Dixie State University and Bruce Hurst Field, who will right here as the Spanish Fork Dons come up. It will be Andrew Pintar, Cy Nielsen, and Dylan Lee coming up against Boone Abbott, who wears number 7. And on that 2015 state championship team, there's another pitcher for American Fork who wore number 7, Mick Madsen, who pitched multiple times in that state championship couple of games that American Fork played. Pitched deep into those ball games and really kind of put the team on his back, so to speak. to win that 2015 state championship. So here's Andrew Pintar to lead it off. Pintar 1 for 2. He was at the plate when Tay Newman was caught stealing to end the top of the 5th inning. And working here from the stretch is Boone Abbott. Ready to go. The pitch on its way is going to be rolled over towards third. Up with it is Johnson. His throw is a strike over to first base, and there's one away here in the 6th inning. Andrew Pintar grounds out, and now that will bring up Cy Nielsen. Nielsen 0 for 2, grounded out to short, and then went down looking on strikes back in the 3rd inning, as he will stand in here from the right side. And really, Spanish Fork looking to try to get some base runners to try to make something happen. It's not even right now that they need to get all 3 runs back, but they need to get something going here. The first pitch misses for a ball. Some action begins to go down to the American Fork bullpen. Pair of right-handers beginning to throw. That one misses for a ball. It's 2-0. One of them is number 20, Curtis Wimpy, beginning to throw down in the bullpen. Here's the 2-0 pitch, about ready to come home. That one misses low for a ball, and it's 3-0 here on Cy Nielsen. I believe it's J.D. Gardner behind the plate. And that one misses high for ball 4. And Cy Nielsen will draw a 4-pitch walk here with 1 out in the 6th inning. And Spanish Fork has a base runner on the base paths as Dylan Lee will come to the plate. Lee singled in the 2nd, came around to score a run, and then popped out to the first baseman back in the 3rd. And we'll have a visit out to the mound here. You have to wonder if Boone Abbott might be hitting some kind of a pitch count, or there may be something. I don't think Abbott wants the ball taken from him. I don't know if that's necessarily what this conversation is going to be about, or if it's just going to be assessing how he's doing. Right here, the conversation going right now on the mound right now, just kind of giving some directions. It looks like right now they're gonna stick with the right-hander who has pitched absolutely phenomenal tonight for American Fork. Has not made it easy on these Spanish Fork hitters to go up there and try to find ways to get hits. It looked like back in the 2nd inning when Spanish Fork had a 2-0 lead, they kind of knocked him around a little bit in the 2nd inning, but it appears that Abbott has just gotten tougher as the afternoon's gone on, or as the evening's gone on. That one's going to come in and get off the glove of Gardner, and going down to second base is going to be Cy Nielsen. So Nielsen now in scoring position here for Spanish Fork, as that one just kind of went right off the glove of J.D. Gardner to the backstop, and it's a 1-ball, no-strike count here on Dylan Lee. The home plate umpire rubbing up one of the baseballs and puts it in his bag here. 1 ball and no strikes, the count on Lee. Running on at second is Cy Nielsen. The pitch on its way, fouled straight back to the screen. And the count evens up here at 1 ball and 1 strike on Cy Nielsen. The outfield here for American Fork, completely playing Nielsen to pull. The center fielder, Walker, is playing behind the shortstop in deep left center field. Giant gaps in center, into right center, and down the right field line. The pitch away there to Dylan Lee, and the count moves to 2-1. Which means they must have seen something either in scouting reports or when they played last weekend, to where they think Dylan Lee's just kind of a straight pull hitter, because they're playing him like you would a straight pull hitter. Here's the 2-1 pitch on its way home, right on the outside corner, and misses for a ball 3. It's 3-1 the count here on Dylan Lee. Josh Cowden, the catcher, on deck for Spanish Fork. The Dons trailing 6-3 here in the top of the 6th inning. Here's the 3-1 pitch on its way home. Misses low, ball 4, and Dylan Lee is aboard here in the 6th. And now we're starting to see, I don't know if Boone Abbott is starting to show some signs of tiring here in the 6th inning, but now it will bring up Josh Cowden. Cowden has a pair of strikeouts on the evening as he'll stand in from the left side. Cowden representing the tying run here for Spanish Fork. Running on at second base, Cy Nielsen. Dylan Lee running over at first. Not really being held on at first is Levi Colton Carpenter. And the pitch on its way to Cowden, who swings and misses there at the first pitch. No balls and a strike there now on Josh Cowden. Cowden, I think they're chasing, maybe feeling the sense of urgency to try to break his 0-for-2 night. Sometimes as a hitter you can start to kind of press a little bit, and sometimes that can have an even more negative effect on hitting. Here's the 0-1 pitch on its way. Cowden grounds this one up the middle to short. Backhand around the back flip to the shortstop, Hardman, who turns the double play over to first. The 4-6-3 double play ends the top half of the 6th. A nice double play turn right there. And now we will head here to the bottom of the 6th inning. Here, so Spanish Fork gets a couple of runners on base, but the inning-ending double play kills any sort of a threat that the Dons had going. Here, we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, 6-3 lead for American Fork here on Spanish Fork 17. Let's take a moment to thank our sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We have Dickerson Automotive, Mikkel Christiansen and Wise, attorneys at law, 2 Jacks Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, MVP Sports, Lance Wilson, State Farm Insurance, and the Tony Basso Auto Group. We thank them for making this broadcast possible. We also want to remind you you can follow our pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to keep up with the latest shows, live broadcasts, and our SF17 staff. Just look for Spanish Fork 17. We want to thank those watching tonight on our YouTube page, youtube.com/SpanishFork17. We want to remind you just what a great resource that page can be to watch live broadcasts if you're outside of the Spanish Fork viewing area. You can also just catch replays. Sometimes it's fun to go back through and watch some old games from this year, last year, and maybe the year before, to watch some Spanish Fork alumni and some other friends in that people may know. As here comes Jack Walker to lead it off. It will be Walker, Larson, and McCoy, 8, 9, and 1 coming up right here. Jack Walker has struck out, and he walked and came around to score a run. The first pitch to Walker is in there for a called strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike here on Jack Walker. 6-3 lead for American Fork. Last of the 6th. Spanish Fork will have one last chance here. Is that what misses low for a ball? And the count evens up here at 1 ball and 1 strike. We're at right now 1 hour and about 48 minutes. That one inside, or sorry, just approaching about 2 hours or so. Well, I'm sorry, we're at 1 hour and about 50. I'm off by about 10 minutes. The 2-1 pitch on its way. Walker swings through it and misses, and it evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Walker. Tay Newman right now, some action beginning to throw a little bit harder down in that American Fork bullpen. As Walker stands back in from the right side. The pitch on its way. The 2-2 is going to be lined to second. Past the diving second baseman Dylan Hall into right field for a base hit. And Jack Walker is aboard to start the 6th inning. So the 6th inning starting similar to how the American Fork 5th inning started. They get Jack Walker on to lead it off, and that worked out pretty well for the Cavemen back in the 5th. We'll see what happens here in the 6th as Griffey Larson, the second baseman, will come to the plate. Larson has reached on an error in both of his at-bats, and we'll see here what happens here with Larson at the plate. First pitch on its way. Larson shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes fastball high for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Josh Dart at third base for Spanish Fork, playing right about maybe a half a step behind the cut of the grass there. Now he's actually on the cut of the grass at third. Expecting the bunt for sure. Larson ready to go. Even stance in the box, squares around, pulls it back, and hello, that one came kind of close to his head as he quickly ducked out of the way of that one for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. And Larson able to quickly just get that bat down just in the nick of time. And it's a 2-0 count now on Larson. The last thing you want right now if you're Spanish Fork is any more additional runs coming in to score. The 2-0 pitch, there's a bunt towards first, but this one just goes foul. And we'll do it over again here. Be 2 balls and a strike here on Griffey Larson. Tomorrow we're on the air at 11:30 for Corner Canyon and Maple Mountain. That one coming from Desert Hills High School. And then we'll get Maple Mountain Juan Diego at 4:30 from Desert Hills High School. And we'll be back here with Spanish Fork on Saturday at 2:30. And then again at 5. They'll throw over to first. Walker dives back safely. As Spanish Fork will see Pleasant Grove tomorrow night at 7:30. And then we'll see then on Saturday, they'll see Taylorsville at 2:30. And then at 5, they'll see Timpanogos in a rematch of last year's 4A state championship game. Bunt shown again. This pitch low, ball 3. It's 3 balls and a strike. Here the count on Griffey Larson. Top of the order, and Marty McCoy awaiting in the on-deck circle here for American Fork. And then you start getting into the middle part of the lineup with Ryan Hardman and Colton Carpenter. Bunt shown here, pulls it back, misses inside, ball 4. And so the first 2 men are on again here for American Fork in the 6th as Marty McCoy will come to the plate here for American Fork. McCoy has scored 2 runs tonight for the Cavemen, has been hit by a pitch, reached on an error, and also has a ground out that came back in the first inning. McCoy ready to go from the right side. And the pitch on its way. Bunt laid down right back to the pitcher. Tay Newman throws over to first and is in plenty of time there to get the runner. That, however, will move the runners up 90 feet to second and third base. One away. Here's the shortstop, Ryan Hardman. Ryan Hardman has 2 hits, a base hit back in the first, a base hit in the third, and then walked back in the 5th. Came around to score a run here. Looking to try to see what it is here he can do. Spanish Fork bringing the infield in as the first pitch misses away for ball 1 to Hardman. Spanish Fork will try to cut the run down here at the plate. The last thing they want to do is allow that run to come in to score. Pitch on its way. Hardman checks his swing, misses outside for a ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes here on Hardman. First base is open, so a walk here doesn't kill you with Hardman. However, it does load the bases for Colton Carpenter. The double play, however, would be in order. Potential to try to just get out of that and end the inning. The 2-0 pitch fouled straight back by Hardman off the protective netting. And it's 2 balls and a strike the count here on Ryan Hardman. Outfield playing pretty straight up, except maybe in center field, Riley Hess playing a few steps in towards left field. 2 balls and 1 strike to count here on Hardman. Working from the stretch, Newman checks the runners, comes in. Hardman lifts that one down the right field line, and that one's going to go foul into the American Fork bullpen as the pitchers have sat down that were in the American Fork bullpen, no longer throwing. Be 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Hardman. If there's a time that Tay Newman could use a strikeout, right now would be a really good time to somehow find a way to get the strikeout. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Hardman swings and misses. Strike 3, a big strikeout there for Tay Newman in the 6th. Newman's 2nd strikeout of the evening, and now that brings up first baseman Colton Carpenter. Carpenter has grounded out 3 times tonight, but his last one, he grounded out to the third baseman Josh Dart, but that did bring a run home. So a productive at bat still for Colton Carpenter. Here's the pitch on its way, and Carpenter swings through it. No balls and a strike to count here on Colton Carpenter. As a very good-sized crowd has came in here tonight to Bruce Hurst Field. No balls and a strike to count. Runners on at 2nd and 3rd. The pitch on its way home is right off the plate for a ball, and the count moves to 1-1 here on Colton Carpenter. Dawson Perry on deck for American Fork if the inning continues past Carpenter. Ready to go. Here's the 1-1 inside and tight, and it just broke at the last minute, but not enough to get over the plate for a strike. It's 2-1 on Carpenter. I thought that one there was going to hit Carpenter, but that last second break there, really fortunate that it didn't hit Carpenter. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Carpenter to third. Dart up with it. He'll throw across the diamond in time to end the 6th. So American Fork gets a couple of base runners. They're not able to add to their lead. It's the last chance for Spanish Fork. It's Dylan Hall, Carson Chappell, and Josh Dart after the break here on Spanish Fork 17.
Wild Mustangs. They're supposed to be one of the most gentle creatures in nature.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these. That's why more people save money by combining their home and auto with State Farm.
Call State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Well, the top of the 7th inning here at Bruce Hurst Field in St. George, Utah. The last chance for Spanish Fork here this evening against American Fork. And I believe we're going to have a new pitcher for American Fork. As we will. We're going to have, it will be number 14. That is Colton Carpenter, who will come in and pitch. Moving over to play first base is going to be Dawson Perry, who, if I remember correctly, has been the designated hitter. Moves over to play first base. And Colton Carpenter will try to close the door here on Spanish Fork. The hitters scheduled to hit for Spanish Fork: Dylan Hall, Carson Chappell, and Josh Dart. And one thing I just kind of wonder here is if maybe, potentially in this situation, if Travis Johnson at third base is playing back with the speed of Carson Chappell, I just wonder if you may not see Chappell maybe try to bump for a base hit. However, here, we'll have to see. Carpenter finishing up his warm-up tosses, and Spanish Fork having some work to do. The Dons haven't scored since the 3rd inning. Their last hit was Riley Hess's single back in the 5th inning. They've had some base runners on the base paths, including 2 on the base paths in the 6th, 1 in the 5th. They just haven't been able to get those base runners across the plate for runs. Carpenter will finish up his final warm-up toss here, and we'll be back to playing baseball here in the top of the 7th inning. Spanish Fork needs 3 to tie, 4 to take the lead and send it to the, well, I guess they really only need 3 to send it to the bottom of the 7th inning. So right now looking for 3, but most importantly right now looking just to try to get a couple of base runners on. So here is Dylan Hall, who's 1 for 2, an RBI double, and then also struck out in his last at-bat that came back in the 4th inning. Carpenter's first pitch misses low for ball 1, 1 ball and no strikes. Hall, Chappell, and Dart coming up. 6, 7, and 8 here for Spanish Fork. Carpenter on its way home. Fastball misses for ball 2. It's 2 balls and no strikes. The count here on Dylan Hall. Infield, back, outfield, pretty much straight up for American Fork. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Inside and tight, ball 3, and the count moves to 3-0 on Dylan Hall. So we talked about Spanish Fork needing some base runners, and this would be a good way to start it. The 3-0 pitch, I would imagine Hall's taking all the way here, and this one misses and gets to the backstop for ball 4. So Dylan Hall aboard to start the 7th inning with the walk. And now that will bring up Carson Chappell. And we'll have someone go over to first base and run speed up. That's Noah Conway. Number 19 will run over at first base. Running here for Dylan Hall. Carson Chappell's going to be the hitter. Chappell 0 for 2, a pair of strikeouts on the evening. Travis Johnson's going to play, at least right now, maybe 2 or 3 steps behind the third base bag. What I'm wondering is if we may not see Chappell try to lay one down, because if with his speed, if he can get a decent bunt down the third baseline, could put some pressure on Travis Johnson. But we'll have to wait and see. Chappell in the box, ready to go. And the first pitch on its way home is taken, and that one misses for ball 1 to Chappell. 1 ball and no strikes. Chappell didn't show any signs a bunt is even in his thought process right now as he stands back in. Here's the 1-0 pitch on its way home to Chappell. That one right on the outside corner and maybe missed outside, maybe a little bit high, but nonetheless ball 2, and it's 2-0. And Colton Carpenter's having a hard time finding the strike zone here in the top of the 7th inning. From the stretch, here's the 2-0 pitch on its way home. This one hits the middle of the plate for a called strike, and it's 2-1 the count. I think it's Andrew Pintar is throwing in the Spanish Fork bullpen in case this goes to the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 balls and a strike, the count, the pitch on its way. And Chappell, I think, wanted to swing, then kind of checked his swing and takes it for a called strike. And the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Carson Chappell. Josh Dart on deck for the Dons. Time call by Chappell right as Carpenter came home. And the timeout was granted by our home plate umpire. 6-3 lead for American Fork here in the top of the 7th inning. Spanish Fork, the visiting team. American Fork, the home team. Second time this week these two teams have played. They played last Saturday. Spanish Fork getting the better of American Fork. The pitch, ground ball right to third. Johnson bobbles the baseball. His only play is going to be first, and they're going to say he got Carson Chappell by maybe a quarter of a step. A bang play over at first base. But Noah Conway will move up over to second base, and now that will bring up Josh Dart. Travis Johnson threw a bullet across the diamond. And now it will bring up a it will bring up a 1-for-2 Josh Dart, a single and a strikeout for Dart. Carpenter looks at the runner at second, comes home, breaking pitch right on the outside corner for a called strike, and it's an 0-1 count here on Josh Dart. Riley Hess on deck if the inning continues past Dart. Time called as Carpenter steps off. Now Carpenter stepping back on, ready to go. Here's the pitch, checks his swing. That one misses low. They wanted an appeal to the base umpire. Won't be granted, and the count evens up a 1-1. The catcher can point on like a check swing, and they can appeal it to the base umpire. If there's an umpire at both first and third, it depends on the side of the plate the hitter's on. In this case, there's only one umpire used on the bases in high school baseball. The 1-1 pitch on its way, and Dart pops this one up, but this one is going to go foul into the Spanish Fork bullpen, and now Josh Dart down to the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Noah Conway running on at second base. Riley Hess is the on-deck hitter before you go back to the top of the lineup with Tay Newman. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one misses low for a ball, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Working right now, the right-hander, Colton Carpenter. From the stretch, delivers the 2-2 pitch. That one's grounded to second base. Larson up with it. His throw to first is in time, and there's 2 gone here in the 7th inning. Noah Conway does move down to third base, and now that will bring up Riley Hess with 2 outs, and the Dons down to their final out. So Hess ready to go here with a walk, has scored a run, singled back in the 5th. Carpenter from the stretch, ready to go. And the pitch on its way. Fastball stays high for ball 1. It's 1 ball and no strikes on Riley Hess. Spanish Fork plays the late game tomorrow. They don't play again until 7:30 tomorrow night. American Fork has to play again in about 14 hours at noon. Fastball stays high for a ball. It's 2-0. So it can be kind of tough to see here just from the way that everything can go. It's going to be a quick turnaround for American Fork. Go back to the hotel, get some sleep, come back to the ballpark. Spanish Fork has a little bit nicer schedule because they can kind of work out some stuff and have some time tomorrow before having to play. The 2-0 pitch misses low, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. The count here on Riley Hess. Infield back here for American Fork. They just need the out at first to end the ball game. 3-0 pitch coming home to Hess. Fastball right out over the outside corner for a called strike. And it's now 3 balls and 1 strike. The count here on Riley Hess. Carpenter ready to go here with the 3-1. On its way, misses or gets in there for a called strike 2, and the count goes full. Hess had tossed the bat and was heading to first base when the strike call came, and Spanish Fork is down to their final strike. Carpenter ready to go from the stretch. The 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3, and the ball game is over as the Spanish Fork Dons will drop this one here tonight by a final of 6-3 to the American Fork Cavemen. We will take a break. We'll wrap this one up. We'll have our MVP Sports MVP of the game. You're watching high school baseball in Spanish Fork 17.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Well, a tough loss tonight for the Spanish Fork Dons. They fall to American Fork by a final of 6-3. As really, when you take a look at this one, Spanish Fork had a 3-0 lead, and then really just a couple of things happened. The American Fork Bats woke up, and their starting pitcher, Boone Abbott, all of a sudden became untouchable. At one point in the 4th and 5th innings, he had struck out 5 out of the last 6. He ended his outing with 8 strikeouts for American Fork. Just pitched a really good ball game all the way around the board. The Cavemen come out on top by a score of 6-3. American Fork improving to 3-1 on the season. Spanish Fork falls to 3-2. Our MVP Sports MVP of the game tonight goes to Dylan Hall, who had an RBI double back in the 2nd inning, which got the first run of the ball game home for Spanish Fork. But then in that 7th inning, really when Spanish Fork needed to try to get some base runners on, had a nice at bat and drew a walk. And while sometimes it's easy to look at it and say that hits are the most important thing, Spanish Fork needed base runners at that point, and that's exactly what Dylan Hall was able to do. Dylan Hall, our MVP Sports MVP of the game. Well, we want to say so long to you tonight from Bruce Hurst Field at Dixie State University. Our next broadcast for high school baseball comes to you tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. first pitch. We will be across a different part of St. George tomorrow morning, as we'll be at Desert Hills High School for the Maple Mountain Golden Eagles and the Corner Canyon Chargers. For our entire Spanish Fork Community Network team here in St. George and at Dixie State University, I'm Ryan Pickens saying so long, and we will see you tomorrow for more high school baseball on Spanish Fork 17. Have a great night, everyone.
Can I be assured there's going to be cleanup so I don't have a dog or a cat and don't like them?
You won't be owners, they'll be